I'm Ricc Rollins, and this is Going Places. Don't you want to come along? We're at the Riverwalk. Let's go. I'm Ricc Rollins with welcome to this edition of Going Places. I hope your morning's amazing. Here's what's coming up on today's show. Lauren Gay, the outdoorsy diva, begins part 1 of her Icelandic adventures. We'll talk with Dr. Nabuki at the Royal Pet Market, Resort, and Veterinary Clinic about pet cancer, since November is Pet Cancer Awareness Month. And we'll talk with the pet parent about her fur baby's cancer journey. And because today is National Donut Day, we'll talk with the folks at Cosmic Donuts. All of this and more coming up on this edition of Going Places, starting, you guessed it, right now.
I'm here just outside Reykjavik, Iceland at the Sky Lagoon. It is a wonderful place. It's a natural setting. You've got actual volcanic rocks and water that comes directly from a geothermal spring right here in Iceland. Sky Lagoon is the newest geothermal bathing experience in Iceland. It's located about 15 minutes outside the city of Reykjavik. One of the first things you'll notice is the unique herringbone structure of turf on the roof of the building.
So this is our turf wall, or klumbruhleðsla in Icelandic. And so it's a very old way of building. So we have the turf stacked in that kind of herringbone pattern, and we use turf from a few or about 100 kilometers away. And the turf over there is really, really good because it's packed with volcanic ash. So it becomes very compact and almost like concrete. So it completely insulates the building, and we actually don't have to use any extra heating rather than the water, and then this, because it just completely encapsulates it.
Every element of Sky Lagoon is an intentional connection to Iceland's nature and heritage. Like these panels on the outside look like the lava columns that you'll see at the famous Black Sand Beach.
But one of the things that takes place is that we undress in front of each other. And it's very, very typical for us to do that, and we do that from a very young age, so we're very, very used to it.
And if you're not comfortable with the large group changing area, they have private changing areas that you can utilize as well. Once you shower and change into your suit, you head through the cave-like opening into the amazing geothermal waters of the Sky Lagoon. These warm waters are sourced from a geothermal site outside the city. They actually use the water not only for the lagoon, but in the showers, in the pipes to heat the floors of the building, and even in the parking lot to prevent ice. Bathing pools like this one are essential to Icelandic culture, and here's why.
See it as a human right to have a swimming pool if there's 150 people living in the town. So it's a little bit funny like that.
But what makes Sky Lagoon stand out is that it's not just a bathing pool, but a 7-step Icelandic bathing ritual. First, you start in these warm geothermal waters, and then you move to the cold plunge pool. You sit in the pool for as long as you possibly can, and then it's time to head inside for the next steps of the ritual. Next, you head inside to the state-of-the-art sauna, where you'll see the single largest window in Iceland. And if you're lucky, you may spot some wildlife like a seal or even jellyfish. The next step in the ritual is my favorite room, the cold mist room. This room is actually open to the sky and gives you the sensation of being in a nice cool rain. Step 4, you apply their proprietary blend of oil and salt all over your body, and then it's time to head into the steam room to open your pores.
What's left is the salt. So you go into the showers to rinse off the salt, and then you're finished.
The 7th step is the shower. You rinse off the salt from the scrub, and you'll be left behind with oil and super soft, smooth skin. The unofficial 8th step is the lagoon bar, where you go and have a nice cocktail, and then it's time to dive right in and enjoy yourself in the lagoon. Being given a tour was one thing, but experiencing it for myself was otherworldly. All of these amazing lava rocks that you see are actual lava. These rocks were brought in from the highlands of the Iceland countryside. And the best part is, once you're in, you're in. There's no time limit for the lagoon, so you can spend as much time lounging and resting as you'd like. There are benches located all throughout the pool, and you can enjoy the 75-meter-long infinity pool view. This is actually the longest infinity pool in all of Iceland. This is definitely one of those Instagrammable type places, and they provide bags for your phone if you need it to protect it. It's also completely cashless, so you can just load money to a wristband and use that throughout the day for anything you get from the bar, or if you have something to eat at the cafe afterwards. You're able to purchase their proprietary oil and salt blend as well as other products with you in the gift shop, so you can take a bit of Iceland home with you and continue that relaxation. Rick, we've got to get you here to experience this luxury for yourself.
And at the top of the show, November is Pet Cancer Awareness Month. The doctor's in the house and we'll talk with him about that and more right after this.
Hi, I'm Arlene. Welcome to Coffee Speaks and Tea Talks. What's your coffee saying? Whether in for business or just getting away, let Coffee Speaks and Tea Talks be a part of your day. A place for you to come and share thoughts and spirit through a cup of coffee. Come and enjoy with us here at Coffee Speaks and Tea Talks. Coffee Speaks and Tea Talks. Enjoy life one cup at a time.
And major flooding threatens cities, towns, and rural homes across the Gulf states. So chances are there will be more storms and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
This month is Pet Cancer Awareness Month. I'm going to be honest, I never thought about pets and cancer. How common is that?
Well, it is becoming more common in pets, but the good news is we're able to detect it a lot easier and sooner, and we're also able to treat a multitude of different types of cancers. So it's
Okay, so with other forms of cancer, there's normally a lump or something that people identify, and then it says, maybe I need to get this checked out. Is that the same thing that happens with pets?
Yeah, it really depends on the location of where it first appears. You know, obviously if it's on the skin, that's a lot easier to notice because that's going to be a bump, you know. But if it's in the mouth, you know, it may be further back in the mouth. So we always recommend when you're giving treats or looking at your dog and stuff, you know, check out their mouth, feel their body, look over their skin, you know, feel their musculature, check their legs and stuff, you know, but again, you're usually going to find lumps on the skin or other lesions. The ones that are internal, like on the organs and stuff, those are a lot harder to find, and that's where we come in.
What is there something that is symptomatic of the way that the animal then begins to behave?
Yes, absolutely. If it is bad enough in the mouth, they will start to drop food, they'll become painful. If it's on the skin, they'll actually sometimes start to chew at it if it's irritating. Or perhaps, you know, you don't want it to happen, but if it's in the bone or on the leg or something, if it's painful, sometimes they'll limp a lot. And again, they may chew at it or mess with it. So those are usually the common things, besides you seeing that it's a lump on the body.
And so how here do you at Royal diagnose cancer or any other malady?
Yeah, so there are, you know, everything is a piece to the puzzle.
Okay.
We recommend doing blood work to check for certain bloodborne ones. We recommend if it's a lump, the obvious approach is we want to sample it. So we'll take a syringe and a needle, we'll poke at it, We'll get a sample, we'll send it out to a lab for a pathologist to review, and then they'll give us results off that as well. If it's a more internal one or a more invasive one, we will do what's called a biopsy, which means we actually either cut into it and take a sample, or we take the whole thing out and we send it into a lab for them to, again, look at it and tell us what it is. And then based off that, then we go from there and determining what type of treatment we want to do, and what the next few weeks or few months are going to look like for that baby.
Well, what is to be expected over the next couple of months when something like this happens?
Well, again, it depends on the type. There are some that are easier to treat, and there are some that are harder to treat. Obviously, the easier ones, your pet may be doing chemotherapy. They may be taking a simple pill every day, and that's a light chemotherapy agent, which means less side effects.
Okay, which was going to be my next question. Do animals like this little one, by the way, this is Venti, who will be with us throughout our show. Do pets experience hair loss, nausea, all of those same things as their owners will, or is it different?
So, good question. Absolutely. Yeah. For some reason, what I've noticed is, I don't know if it's the sensitivity to the drugs or the concentration that they're given, but with pets in general, they tend not to have as bad of side effects, again, depending on what type of treatment or what type of cancer it is. But if you give it, the most common signs are GI symptoms, because most of the chemotherapy agents, they're in the mouth or they're in the blood. And so when you give it, you may have diarrhea, you may have vomiting, you may have nausea, like you said, but that's chemotherapy. If you do radiation therapy, which is a different type.
I was going to, go ahead.
Yeah, then you're going to be, like if you had a lump on your arm, you're going to be zapping right at that area.
Right.
And so you may have irritation of the skin or ulceration, but that's just transient. As it kills the cancer, that area will heal and eventually that will go away. But you may get some skin irritation, just like if you're out in the sun too long and you get a sunburn, same thing, radiation, you're going to get some irritation.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. So, last question. If you're going places, see what I did there? If you're going places, what with a pet that has cancer or is now recovering from cancer, what do we do differently than if it's Fido or Cha-Cha, going places? So do we treat them differently? Do we try to know in advance where, if something should happen, that they need to know where to call and things of that nature? How would we handle that? So
absolutely. Being prepared is the best thing to do. It's different when you take a normal, healthy pet. Less of a concern. They can do whatever they want. They're usually going to do fine. They're not going to be any pain or discomfort. However, if you have a pet that has cancer, especially if they're undergoing therapy or treatment, then you have to watch out for, again, if they're going to have GI symptoms, now you need to make sure that you're not feeding them anything crazy. You just got to feed them their normal dog food because they're already potentially going to have vomiting, diarrhea, and nausea. So they have to have very bland, simple things for their dog food that they can handle. Another thing is you got to talk to your vet.
Vinci, what's wrong, Vinci?
I know, just cough a little bit. You have to talk to your vet.
Attention. You just wanted some attention, didn't you? Okay.
I give her attention every day down here. I love it. But you have to really, you have to talk to your vet, make sure that, again, they're healthy. And then if the pet is on a severe medication where they could potentially get sick, you want to make sure that wherever you're going, there's a good ER or another vet in the area that you can potentially see or talk to.
Okay.
So it's all about preparation.
When we come back, we're going to talk with Stacy, who also works here at Royal, and her pet is a year into its cancer treatment and doing well. We'll hear her story when Going Places continues right after this.
flooding threatens cities, towns, and rural homes across the Gulf states. So chances are there will be more storms and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Okay, so Stacey, tell me what happened. We talked about the fact that, and I think Dr. Nook was telling me behind the scenes that there was a lump, and that's how you discovered that your pet baby had cancer.
That's right. And finding a lump or a bump can be really scary for any pet parent. And so, because I've been in veterinary medicine for over 34 years, I already knew there was something alarming going on. And so the lump was changing in size or consistency.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I brought her in to see my doctors, which is Dr. Nabuki Tobias that you've met earlier. He was able to evaluate her lump, and after we tracked it for a little while, it turned out that it really needed to be surgically removed.
Oh, wow.
So we did that, and unfortunately I got a bad diagnosis. And the type of diagnosis I got alerted me that this is probably going to come back again, which of course is what occurred. And so at that point, I have to make some serious decisions as a pet parent.
Right.
And I'm really glad that I had the support of my veterinarians at Royal Pets, because they helped me as a pet parent make solid decisions for quality of life for my best friend.
This is a very emotional thing to do, because like you said, it's your best friend.
Absolutely. And even though, I mean, I'm trained in pet grief support loss and compassion fatigue, this was one of the most difficult things I've ever been through. And I don't think I could have done it without knowing I had the advice from doctors that I can trust, and they really helped guide me through the process. There's always a magical question: what would you do if it was your pet?
Right. That's what I asked. That's the first thing I said. If it was your dog, because I asked the same thing with my mom. If it was your mother, would you do? And when they tell me that this is what they would do, you have to listen.
Yeah.
So you get the advice and you go through the process.
You do. And the thing to keep in mind too is that every pet parent has a threshold of what they can and can't do.
Right.
And it might be an emotional boundary, it might be a financial constraint, it might be a physical complication for them, it might be just mental well-being. What can you and can't you handle? And helping you make a decision that is both compassionate and timely. No one wants their pet to be in pain or suffering. So with the right research and the right opportunities in our community, I was able to reach out to a specialist in oncology. Both Dr. Brian Goldrick and Dr. Nabuki Tobias did their own research for me as their client.
Doesn't hurt to have a couple
Oh
of
my gosh, friends in high places, for sure.
Right.
And so they really helped guide me to what they thought would be a sound medical direction and options.
Okay.
So I decided to go with the information we were given, which said if we proceed with radiation for her, the likelihood that she will be cancer-free for up to 3 years after her treatment at 80%. To me, that's a good bet to take for my best friend. I will tell you, Maggie is 12 years old today, and next month comes up on 1 year after her second surgery. And in December, I celebrate 1 year post her radiation treatment.
Wow.
And radiation was kind of scary to me because I had a preconceived notion in my mind as a pet parent, thinking about what's that going to be like for her and what things is she going to experience. And honestly, I was very surprised that she is vivacious and she was rejuvenated, and she did really well through every treatment for that month of December. And here we are today, and I still have my best friend.
That is amazing. That really is amazing.
Yeah.
So I need you to tell Maggie from Uncle Rick, happy birthday.
I sure will.
And I am glad to hear that she is doing as well as she is. And thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you very much. And I want to also say for you that while we have a happy ending for her story so far, I know that there are some other pet parents who haven't, but Maggie and I are still going places.
That's it. Hey, I love it. There you go. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Arlene. Welcome to Coffee Speaks and Tea Talks. What's your coffee saying? Whether in for business or just getting away, let Coffee Speaks and Tea Talks be a part of your day. A place for you to come and share thoughts and spirit through a cup of coffee. Come and enjoy with us here at Coffee Speaks and Tea Talks. Coffee Speaks and Tea Talks. Enjoy life one cup at a time.
Today is National Donut Day. And who better to talk about donuts than the king of donuts, Jason from Cosmic Donuts. Welcome, man. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, sir, how did you get involved in donuts?
Well, funny story. Like I said, I'm more of a fitness background, so I don't know how fitness and donuts go together. Besides moderation, of course, you got to have a little bit of that. But donuts have always been, or actually just creativity has always been part of my background. So, being able to get in something with donuts and being able to kind of have creative flow with the kind of choices that you make and things like that was something that I jumped on the opportunity when I had the chance, and it's been a huge blessing ever since we got started.
I love the fact when an entrepreneur sees any opportunity to pursue your dream as a blessing. So I'm with you 100% as an entrepreneur, not only in what I do from production, but also in men's clothing. So let's talk about this. So you tell your friends and your family you're gonna do donuts. What do they say?
They say, I guess they weren't too shocked, just because, like I said, I've always been creative doing whether it be cookies or foods, or I don't have really a culinary background, but that being said, I've always been creative with it. So they're kind of like, well, that kind of makes sense. But also they were like, are you sure? Like, we opened in the pandemic. So that was kind of the where the questions came in.
Thank you. I opened 3 businesses in the pandemic in 2020, and people are like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, this is the time to prove what I'm made out of. So Cosmic Donut is not just another donut shop. Tell me what makes Cosmic so what's the word I want to use? Spectacular comes to mind. Unique comes to mind.
Out of this world.
Yes, celestial. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. What makes it that tell me.
Well, basically, we thrive on having fresh products every day, never frozen, never anything that's pre-made. We make sure that everything's fresh. The softest dough. It can be our sizes are a little bit bigger, which is kind of nice for some people. They're not used to get like a tiny little donut. It's actually you're getting what you pay for, and also we make sure that we have the best, the funnest creations and things like that. So it's really cool to be able to have that creativity. But when it's all said and done, I just appreciate the customers coming and supporting us and showing us love.
And that's always important. That's always important. So what's the strangest donut you've ever made?
I've done some fun ones with like for holidays. I've done some ones with nutty buddies on top, or oatmeal cream pies, or doing fun things. Cheesecake, homemade cheesecake ones mixed in them. So I try to go outside the box. Obviously, you have more simple ones, your glazes and your cake donuts and stuff like that for everyone. I want to make sure I have something for everyone, but I do go a little bit over the top with some of the creations.
And speaking of out of the box, the Fruity Pebble donut.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was interesting. That's I think for me, that is bringing my childhood into my adulthood and having the best time in the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We do that with a few different ones. We have like a Fruity Pebble, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Oreo. So little things like that, where it's like, as a kid, you're like, yeah, that was great as a kid, but now I can have it as an adult too on a donut. Wow.
Okay, so what's the most requested donut there at Cosmic?
Believe it or not, I mean it really is hard to say because one day they all do well at selling, but one day it could be a Boston cream, then the Fruity Pebble, then obviously your glaze, and you can have like one of my creative ones, chocolate Oreo Nutella. So it really does rotate. Like there's no rhyme or reason when it's people come in. It's kind of what people are wanting, or I guess their taste buds are feeling. But for the most part, Boston cream does stay regular. We do have a colossal fritter, which people are shocked by because most of the time the comment is it's as big as my head, or it's a gigantic fritter. So those tend to do well, especially with like families and stuff like that, trying to bring people in to check it out.
Okay, in the last minute that we have, let me ask you this. If you had one piece of advice to an entrepreneur, since you're our business spot, by the way, you're our business spotlight of the week too. What would you say is the one piece of advice that you would give to anyone that says, I'm about to start my business?
Well, definitely believe in yourself, because I mean, when it's all said and done, whether other people believe in you or not, it's you versus you. So you have to be able to know what you're capable of. If you believe that you're able to do something, whereas I came into the ground floor and was able to build it, just believe in yourself. Also have that drive and determination to realize that like there's going to be times where there might be a little bit of tough periods, but if you stay persistent and consistent, then you'll be able to get through those times, and then you'll be able to just reap the benefits of your labors.
Jason, happy Donut Day.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for being such a role model to anybody that believes they can by showing them that you do it every single day. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
And I'll be glad to get a dozen of those after the show.
Oh, yeah, definitely come by.
Okay, you take care now.
Thank you, guys.
We're almost out of time, but I want to remind you that next week we'll be back with part 2 of Lauren Gay's Icelandic Adventures. We'll also have Dr. Dabuki back, and we'll talk about pet travel, since it's about time to go places for the holidays. And Kiva Williams joins us with a festive fall breakfast treat. All of this and more next week on Going Places. We'll see you then. Remember, we're going places, and we want you to come along. Be blessed on your journey. Take care.